3 moves that you liked in free agency that were under the radar, not big splashy ones. I'll start with you, Drew.
All of mine are re-signings. So, for one, Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons on a 4-year, $100 million deal. I think that's great for the value, given the fact that we just saw him tremendously increase from the year prior, where he was a 17, almost 18 points per game, 40% from three-point range. To get him on $25 million, where he is now paid less than Jalen Brunson, and me personally, for the ceiling of Anthony Simons, I would take Anthony Simons' deal over Jalen Brunson. Number 2 is going to be Marvin Bagley. Marvin Bagley re-signed to the Pistons because this was the first location. Well, he's only been on 2 teams, but this was the first time where we really saw Marvin Bagley get comfortable in an offense. And whether that has to do with Cade Cunningham or not, which 100% it does have to do with Cade Cunningham, we actually saw Marvin Bagley have success. To bring him back on a team-friendly deal, 3 years, $37 million, that's nothing. And lastly, ironically, to bring this show full circle, Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones re-signing for a 2-year, $30 million deal. The way that he was able to fill that role when Ja was injured and not in the lineup, he fit in very seamlessly because he is a natural playmaker. And he fits what the Grizzlies are going for. And for him to come back on a very team-friendly deal and him not to leave and keep the chemistry that they have going on, keep that Ja safety blanket, I love that deal.
All right. For me, number 1, Oladipo, re-signing with Miami. I thought that was a really huge move. Somebody who, he didn't – offensively, he looked like he didn't fit in at the moment, but in the playoffs, you saw him defensively, was a lockdown, defended him for them. One of the guys that definitely checked the other team's star, and he played really well. His shot selection was a little streaky at times, but the defense you can see is still there.
For sure.
So I like that move for them to keep the guys in that culture, keep somebody who fits that culture. For me, that's a good move. Number 2, Gary Payton going to Portland. I thought that was a huge move, and I like the move. I like the moves in general Portland is making, but getting a guy who can defend that Gary Payton's, and it may not be for 30, 35 minutes, but just for 15, 20 minutes, make another star player's annoyance, and guy who can sit next to Dame and just defend at a high level. He's a good cutter. He hits corner threes that you love to hit at a
great
good rate.
team player.
Great team player. He just won a chip, so he's coming in with that mindset that he just right now he wants to prove himself and he wants to win. I like that move. And then Otto Porter to Toronto. Surprisingly, these are all Golden State moves, but I feel like the Raptors need a guy who can come off the bench, hit threes, defend. He fits their lineup of all wings, no bigs, and he can come in, space the floor, defend. And he's a high IQ guy, so Otto Porter for the Raptors for me.
You don't like Damian Lee to Phoenix?
I hate Damian Lee, and I'm glad he's gone.
So my 3 moves, PJ Tucker to the 76ers.
Had to know.
You knew that was
Had to know.
The 3-year deal, I'm not the biggest fan of. He's going to be like 40.
It's because of business endeavors, I believe. That's why he was so interested in having that 3rd year.
Yeah. So PJ Tucker, of course, the best corner 3 and deep 3-point shooter.
Grant Williams, bro.
He's better than Grant, respectfully.
No,
he's a better defender than Grant.
I'm taking Grant. And my boy John Tortorelli over here, he definitely allowed me to feel very strongly on that.
Well, now PJ is going back to play with James Harden. They're building that Houston thing back up. They signed Daniel House as well. I'm telling you, the James Harden revival's coming back this year.
They might as well fire Doc and bring in Mike.
It's going to happen. JaVale McGee to the Mavericks, I thought was a huge, big-time move. I thought that rebounding and like an interior defender was their biggest need in the playoffs last year, and a rim runner. I think JaVale McGee is a really good rim runner, and now it allows Christian Wood to play the 4 and not have so much responsibility as the 5. Do I still think Christian Wood is having that big-time year? I definitely do. I think Christian Wood's going to be very good next to Luka, and I thought this JaVale McGee signing was good. And then Bruce Brown to the Nuggets. 2 years, $13 million. He improved as a 3-point shooter to the point that he shot 40% from there last year. He's a very good defender. He's a very great cutter. Just imagining him cut and playing with Jokic, I think is a match made in heaven. And them also getting KCP to now they're going all in on surrounding Jokic with players who can hit threes and defend at a high level, because that was clearly their problem this past year. So I think those were 2 big-time moves by Denver.
Word. I can get with that, sure. I'm a big-time, I'm a rotation and energy guy, because I think those guys are the difference in you winning and losing. So I'm digging the Bulls bringing back Derrick Jones Jr. I think that him being on that roster and him giving them that added guy on the wing who can play in transition and who also can defend, I think he's perfect for what they're doing. And to give both Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan some much needed rest. I think he helps them out. And another guy in Chicago is Andre Drummond. I think that he's huge for what they were doing. Him going to that roster and helping out Vooch, because Vooch is exactly what he needs. That dirty work guy that he doesn't have, that who can score. Drummond can score when he needs to. So I like that. I don't think Steve Nash used him nearly as much as he could have. He's the meat and potatoes guy that you guys actually need. And the one that I thought was a big deal, which was a steal, and this is Rib's guy, is my man DiVincenzo going to the Warriors.
That was huge.
That was crazy.
That was huge.
DiVincenzo to the Warriors. DiVincenzo is a winner. He won at Villanova. Not only did he start, he was a winner at Villanova. He gets to the pros. He's a starter on that Milwaukee Bucks team that's going to the NBA championship before he tears up his foot. So he's one of the better D3 guys in the game. I think him playing with that Warriors team, he's going to be really good with them, no doubt about it.
And it shows a lot about him that he didn't stay in Sacramento. Like when he got traded to Sacramento, he instantly hated it. He didn't want to be there. And I'm not sure if Sacramento offered him any money, but it feels like Golden State and DiVincenzo is the perfect fit because he wants to win a championship, and it shows a lot about him that he'd sacrifice more money to go win with a team like Golden State.
It was great because losing GP was tough, man.
Yeah, that's brutal.
And I think DiVincenzo's better than Gary Payton.
I would have loved the Lakers to get him.
He's better than Gary Payton, so.
Huh?
I would have loved the Lakers to get Gary Payton.
You love everybody taking, shut up.
Dude, I want solid role players. Sue me?
Look at your money situation. You're getting nobody.
Gary Payton, how much did you get signed for?
28.
Really? 3 years, I'm assuming? Yeah. Okay.
I also didn't mention this, but this is a good move too. Joe Ingles for the Bucks. Last year, backup point guard was the problem with George Hill.
I'm shocked. I feel like we just spoke about that.
Joe Ingles defensively doesn't offer much, and he just tore up his ACL, so that's even worse. No. But as a spacer, as a playmaker, coming off the bench with Bobby Portis and them running in the pick and roll, I think that's very huge for them. And I think that's what the Bucks needed, a secondary playmaker off the bench. And he's that. He's a point guard. He's a 6'7" point guard.
Yep.